So nice to see you all. Otherwise, just grab a seat. We're just gonna take a moment just to check in. So again, this month we're working on Udana Vayu, which is a wind that moves upward. So with the different winds in the bodies, they're all working on different emotional, mental, physical levels. And this wind that is ascending is linked in with our communication and speech, that upward movement. It's also connected with how do we express ourselves to the world. So the sacral is about drawing in and really creating here, but this is a creation center of outward expression. So how are we interacting with the world and bringing our truth, our hearts, needs, desires, wants and wishes out into the world through our creativity, through our heart-based living. And when we're also looking at Udana Vayu, we're looking at a sense of momentum upward, not just in the physical sense, but also in our spiritual journey and growth. So we're looking at how are we moving our energy up to the higher mind, into this more aspirational and inspirational way of thinking and living, and also this deep connection to our enthusiasm. So enthusiasm in the sense of feeling really positive towards life and motivated and energized towards really doing our best and bringing the best to the world, but also this deep enthusiasm that allows us to live life in a way that's working towards things that are positive for ourselves, for our minds, for our health. So for example, coming and doing a yoga practice, that sense of enthusiasm that really keeps us coming back to those routines, those rituals, those practices that allow us to keep growing, to keep progressing, to keep maintaining this steady, stable, positive life. And this is what we're really focusing on growing for this month of January, and working all around the throat center. So a little bit of work opening up the neck, the shoulders, and a little bit of twisting, but the main focus will be holding for a little bit longer in an inversion, just to really help to bring the energy down towards the throat. So we'll just do a little bit of work to release the neck and shoulders. So find a comfortable seat, any way that feels you can really rest. So ideally with your hips lifted a little bit higher, so your hip bones have a bit of space and your legs can rest either in Tadasana with one foot in front of the other, or cross-legged, any way that feels most rested and comfortable. So just working to bring the attention into the throat space. Just start to close down through your eyes and feel into your breath, just gently moving that space. So you may feel a very subtle brushing at the back of the throat as you breathe. Don't strain or change the breath at all, just drawing your attention, your mind into that space of the throat. Acknowledge if there's any sense of tightness, or you may even feel a lump at the front of the throat. Maybe the throat feels really open, expanded, or soft. Just take a moment to breathe into that space and really feel what's going on there. If it feels nice to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, you can do that. If it feels nice to really release anything that you're holding in that space, maybe taking a slower breath in and a longer breath out. And you can even start to sense the muscles around the back of the neck, the sides, the front of the throat softening on each exhalation. We do so much with this part of our body. It's helping us to support the head. It's a gateway between the head and the heart, where when we're always eating, there's food always moving through this part of the throat. It's also our main way of associating with the world around us. So talking and our sense of speech is always happening in this area of our bodies. And so quite often, with so much going on in that space, it can feel a little restricted or tense or tight. So we'll just add a little bit of movement in to help release and just soften the space a little bit more. So with your next inhalation, draw your shoulders all the way up to the earlobes as you breathe in. And as you exhale, feel the shoulders roll back and down. So the shoulder blades glide down the spine. Just take your time to move with your breath. As your shoulders come up, you inhale. And as you exhale, push the shoulders all the way back and down. Maybe feeling some crunching or some clicking. Inhale 2 more times. Just move in with your pace of breath. Nice, slow, long exhalations. And last one through. So keeping the shoulder blades down the back and the heart space really lifted up. Feel a nice opening across the tops of the shoulders. On your next exhalation, just gently draw your chin down towards your chest, so you're lengthening the back of the neck. And as you inhale, lift the chin up towards the ceiling, so you're opening the throat center, relaxing the tongue, relax the jaw. And again, just move in time with the breath. Your exhale is your chin tucking towards your chest. And your inhale, lift your chin up and away. Really find the focus on the chin point. And just notice if any movement within that feels a little restricted or tense, tight. See if you can soften those muscles or that pocket of the body. Just take in 2 more through, moving slowly, gently. And again, finding that sense of real softening, releasing. Just bringing the chin back to neutral. And then looking side to side, so I'll look the same as you. As you inhale, find center. And as you exhale, looking over the right shoulder, just as far as you can go without moving the body, just the head and the neck. And then inhale back through to center. And then exhale over to your left shoulder. Just guiding the head round, noticing any differences on each side. Inhale into center and then exhale into the side. The last one, inhale center and then exhale to your left. Nice. Back to center. So just making a half semicircle, drop the chin to the chest. And as you inhale, let your right ear go to your right shoulder. And as you exhale, chin comes back to the chest. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Open up the right side of the neck. And then exhale back to center. Just move in through that a few more times. Try to really relax your jaw. So even if you open your mouth a little bit, that might feel quite nice. And keeping the shoulders gliding down the back, the heart space stays lifted. If it feels nice to take the ear to the shoulder and lift the chin, might open the front of the neck a little bit more. You can add that on. Just moving through 1 more semicircle, side to side. Nice, and then slowly coming back into center. Taking the arms out wide with your next inhale, really push the palms back, but turn the palms forward. Nice. If you haven't got too much space, just bend the elbows so you can keep the elbows energizing outward. Nice. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, twist to your right. So squeeze your shoulder blades together, keep your body as it is in the center and really turn from the breastbone. Inhale back through to center. And exhale to twist. Just move in some energy through the heart space. Inhale through center. And exhale 1 more to each side. Nice. Inhale back through to center. And then as you exhale, take your left arm across the body. And then hold on to the front of the forearm and just gently drop your shoulder down and away from the ear. So you're pulling the arm into the body, but dropping the shoulder. And then you can drop your right ear to your right shoulder. So I'm doing the same side as you, not mirroring you. And try not to press on the joint, but you're pressing on the bone. And keep dropping that shoulder down and away so you feel that deep stretch happening right in the neck. If it feels nice to play around with the head placement, you can look down towards the floor or look up. Anywhere that feels nice, you can play around with where you feel the depth of the stretch. And really send your breath into the space where you feel that pull-in sensation, that kind of restricted space, and see if you can breathe into it, making more space. And as you exhale, feel a sense of real surrender and softening. Maybe you can create a little bit more space, just taking in 2 more breaths. Nice, you can release the forearm and then take the arms back to center, drop chin to chest, and then slowly bring head back up to center. Nice, taking the right arm across the body, hold on to the forearm, pull that in, and then drop your shoulder down and away from the ear. Nice, and then let your head drop over to the left shoulder this time. And again, play around with where you feel the most intensity of the stretch. So maybe chin drops to chest, or take the head looking up, wherever feels best for your neck and where you get the most out of the stretch. And then breathe into that point where you feel the pull-in sensation. Nice, just 2 more breaths. Seeing if you can find a little bit more space to move into. So maybe dropping the shoulder down a little more, or changing the position of the head. Last breath. Nice, slowly release the forearm, drop chin to chest, open the arms wide, take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just slowly release your shoulders down. Take a little roll through the shoulders or wiggle. If you're coming to, if you're sitting on a prop, just move the prop out to the side and then come to sit down in a cross-legged position. So a couple options with this next one. You can either work with interlacing your fingers behind your back. If that feels uncomfortable, to take the shoulders back. So you're really squeezing the shoulder blades together and then sending the hands away from you. We're going to lean forward into the stretch. If that feels too much, then you can hold on to the forearms. So you're literally just holding around the forearms and even bringing the hands to the lower back. So you're stacking the palms and then resting that on your lower back and keeping the shoulders back. So we're opening up the heart space and also the front of the shoulder. So find which position feels best for your shoulder. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift up your heart space. And then if you're taking an extended arm, take your hands away from the sacrum and then lift the hands up as high as you can. Keep the shoulder blades squeezing together. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, leaning forward, letting the hands go up over the head if you can. Let your head, crown of the head, drop to the floor. If you're working with your hands interlaced behind your back and holding on to the forearms or hands to the sacrum, then just keep squeezing your shoulder blades together to keep the heart space open, but keep your hands connected to your body. So we want to really breathe into the chest, let the weight of the head drop down. We're just here for 4 more breaths. If your hands are interlaced behind you and lifted up over your head, see if you can send your hands even further away. And then maybe you can pull your hands closer towards the top of your head, top of your mat. Last breath. Nice. We've got next inhalation, lift yourself back up, and exhale to release your arms, release your hands, take your fingertips behind you, and then lean back into the hands. You can either keep fingertips to the floor or bring your palms flat. Just work to squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift up the heart, and breathe into the opening at the front of your body. Nice. Just 1 more breath here. Nice, and then slowly coming back through to center. You can stay in a cross-leg position if that feels comfortable for you, or if you wanted to work a little bit more strongly, you can work to tuck the toes under and come to sit back onto the heels. Or if that's too much, just working to open the ankle joint, you can sit back onto the heels. Always use a block or a prop if you need to sit onto something, you can do that too. So working a little bit around the shoulder joint for this last posture here, you're going to take the right arm up and then find the back of your heart. If you feel that you're hunching over, see if you can take the hand a little bit higher. So you're working to bring the hand more towards the back of your neck, but then trying to lift the elbow up and away and lifting your chest up. If you can find the back of the heart, you might want to take the fingertips to the elbow and just gently ease the elbow in. And then you can either keep your hand just rested here so you're keeping that support, or if you can take your left hand round behind you and interlace the fingers, you can do that. You might also want to grab a sock and hold here and hold here, but just keep the chest lifted. So just pause in here and trying to really relax the shoulder blades down the back, keeping the head pushing back into the forearm to really open up the chest, open up the armpit area. Nice, I'm not going to be here for too long, just around another 30 seconds. So seeing if you can make a little bit more space by energizing the elbows, if you've got the bind, in opposite directions. So as you pull in each direction, it helps to really lengthen and open the fascial network. So you're giving a good tensile stretch to help move any limitations in that network of tissue. Otherwise, just keep leaning back with the head. Make sure you've not closed off the chest. Just last 2 breaths on this side. So to come out, just release the bound arm at the bottom, and then you can lean forward slightly and then stretch the top arm up and over. Just take a moment, take any movements that might feel nice through that arm. Just take a moment to pause and feel the difference on each side. So do you feel more energy, more spaciousness? Do you feel any change or difference on each side? Maybe it's even more heat. Maybe it's just a deeper connection to that space of the body. So then we can go to the other side. So taking the left arm straight up, and again, find the back of the head or back of the heart. You can use the right hand to pull that elbow closer into center, and then either pause there, keep threading that left hand down the back. If you can bind, you want to take the right hand round behind you and find the fingertips, hook the fingertips together, and then keep pulling the elbows in opposite directions. Lean back again into the forearm, keeping the head acting as that weight to really open the chest, open the armpit area. And try to get your shoulder blades to really glide down the back. So the shoulder blades are almost acting like they're supporting your spine by lifting into the upper back and lifting up. So it's almost like a wrapping around the rib cage of the shoulder blade area. Again, really breathe into any tightness, any pockets of the body that you feel are holding a resistance, and try to meet that resistance with a sense of softening on your exhale. And then as the body softens, as the body releases, you've just made a little bit more space for you to reside into, to breathe into, to embody. All these resistances in the physical body will be a resistance in our mind. And the more that we can really tune into what's going on a physical level and help the body to release, to become aware, we can start to unlock and illuminate more of the mind and our habitual tendencies, our patterns, our belief systems, where we're holding ourselves back if we're in stress or strain without even realizing. Let's just take a final breath. And then again, release the bottom hand if you took that bind. Lean forward slightly and then release the top arm straight and all the way down. So it's taking any movement through that shoulder for the arm that might feel nice. And then just take a moment to feel into that left shoulder, that left side. And notice any more spaces that feel sensation or feel a little bit more enlivened. And see if you can keep that space open. Nice. So from here, just move any props out to the side and bring yourself to the middle of your mat. Take your legs out in front of you, feet on the floor, knees bent. And you might want either a block or a book. You can use a bolster or some cushions, or you can use no prop, but it might be a little bit longer of a hold. So for you without a prop. So we're coming into bridge from here. So just roll yourself down, keep your prop handy. And walk your feet a little bit closer in so you can just touch the fingertips of onto the heel. And then find a nice connection of your shoulder blades gliding down the back so the heart space is open. And the tailbone gently tucks down towards the heel so the spine's nice and long. So from here, you want to push into the feet, lift the hips up, push into the arms, and then bring either a stacked books or a block. The middle height is here. If it feels a little bit too low, you can always take the block to its highest setting. That is quite strong. So just feel into what feels best for you. Maybe it's taking a couple more books or a couple of cushions and stacking those. And you want it to rest onto the nice flat bony part of your sacrum. So the lowest part of the spine that runs across the back of the pelvis, just resting into this point. Once you feel that you're rested through your pelvis, you can either keep your arms down beside your hips, or you can take them out into a T shape, or if it feels nice, taking them all the way up over your head. So you can bring a little bit more blood flow into the lungs and into the arms where we want to work. So either arms outstretched or hold onto the elbows. And keeping the chin tucking towards the chest. So we're lengthening out the back of the neck. And as we have the chin pushing into the throat, it's just stimulating Udana Vayu. So this upward movement of energy. Also in the inversion with the hips up over the heart, just brings that flow of energy down towards the throat. So we're going to be here for a couple more minutes. Just allow your eyes to close down. Trying to find as much of a breath around the heart space as you can. So breathing into the chest, into the rib cage, maybe even into the back of the heart. And as we pause with the weight just gently rested onto the shoulders, acts as a nice pressure, so helping to relieve any tension, pain in the shoulders. Again, keep noticing if there's any more space that you can create at the back of the neck. If it feels comfortable for you and you wanted to increase the stretch through the legs, you can take the feet further towards the end of your mat and either feet stay flat to the mat or just taking the heels to the floor and let the feet roll out. Maybe even taking the arms long if you've got the space, so you're giving your body a full stretch. Just here for a last minute or so. As we work in different areas of the body, we stimulate different energy flow, and this is not just on a physical or energetic level, but also on a mental and emotional level. So as we're working around the throat center, connected to our communication and speech, also connected with the food that we're eating, don't be surprised if you see any opportunities arise for you to really speak your truth, to be heard, to be listened to. Maybe there's some different thoughts about the foods that you're consuming or quantity of food that you're eating. Just starts to bring more mindfulness and energy to these points of the body. And life, universe will always give us opportunities to grow. So maybe if a difficult conversation comes up, or there's a chance for you to speak your truth, don't hold back and really trust that your practice is supporting you to grow, to expand, and to really build into your life ways of living more truthfully and more connected to yourself. So just take a couple more breaths here. And then if you took the legs out long, just slowly walk your feet in towards you. If you took your arms over the head, bring your hands down again beside your hips. Push into the feet, move any prop from underneath you out to the side, and then slowly let your hips come down to the mat again. And just take a moment here to rest, to feel that space opened in the chest and the back of the heart. Really breathe into that space that you've created. Maybe it feels nice to turn the palms up to face the ceiling. Keep the heart space feeling open. And maybe it feels nice to just take a gentle sway of the knees side to side. Just massaging out the back of the pelvis. Or maybe taking the legs out long feels good just to rest. Just take in this next minute or so to let your body come back into a neutral, balanced position. So from here, just a little bit balancing work, we can roll off to a side, bring yourself over onto hands and knees. Now we'll just work through a little bit of cat-cow through the spine, just to release any tensions, maybe through the upper back. So take your hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Take a nice long spine, gaze is down towards the floor. As you next exhale, tuck the tailbone under, push into the navel back to the spine, heart back to the spine. Push away from the hands, really dome your upper back and drop chin to chest. And as you inhale, let the tailbone lift, let your gaze lift, and drop your heart and your belly towards the floor. Really let your spine drop and your shoulder blades squeeze together. Try not to lock out the elbows. Just move in rhythm with your breath. So your exhale is rounding the spine, navel pulls back to the spine, really arch the upper back, chin tucks the chest, try to make space in the neck. And as you open the spine, drop in the heart and belly to the floor, really pull your head away from your tailbone. So you're lengthening the spine out, and a nice deep breath in there. If there's anywhere within the cow that feels nice to pause, to wriggle, to move into, please feel free to. Just take in a couple more breaths. Nice. So from here, just come back into neutral again. You may need a blanket or a cushion at the top of your mat. We're going to come into thread the needle, so a twisted position. Keep your feet either toes tucked or feet flat to the mat, and you want to keep the weight back into the legs. So make sure your knees are underneath your hips. Take your left hand your right hand just slightly further forward, and then we're threading the left arm through and underneath. So you're taking the twist round to your right side to begin with, and just threading that arm underneath the space between your hand and your thigh. Bring the blanket or cushion in to really support your head, your neck, your shoulders. And then you can either keep your hand in front of the face, just to gently push into, so your right hand. And maybe see if you can thread that left hand a little bit further through. So really turning through the upper back. The weight is just rested on the top of your left shoulder and side of your head, keeping the back of the neck nice and long. If you wanted to increase the stability in your legs, just take your knees a little bit wider apart. And with the right arm, you can either keep it there, stretch it to the top of the mat, or you can find your sacrum or the top of your left thigh if you want to take it into a bit of a deeper twist. And then try to squeeze the shoulder blade, the right shoulder blade, into the middle of the back and open up the top of your collarbone area on the right side if you're taking more of a twisted position. Nice deep belly breaths. So again, this inverted position is encouraging the energy to flow down towards the neck or up towards the throat. And where we've got a gentle twist happening in the neck, it's also helping to stimulate this flow of Udana into the throat area. We're just here for about another minute and a half each side. So some key things that we may see a blockage or resistance within our bodies, within our minds, our lives. If anything's going on in the throat center, we may not feel that we're really being heard or being listened to, whether that's our own self or the world around us. And also a fear of really speaking our truths. So being able to express freely what it is that we feel in our heart, in our mind, and coming through with a strong and stable, powerful voice. If there's any blockage, resistance, the voice will be quite dull or quiet, weak. Nice. So we can just release the right hand slowly in front of the face once again. Gently push into that hand, and as you inhale, come back up to all fours. Just take your time, realign your spine. Make any adjustments that you might need to, and then we can go onto the left side. So taking the left hand just slightly further forward, and then thread the right arm through, resting on the top of the right shoulder and right cheek. Push into the left hand. See if you can thread that right arm through a little bit more, but keep the spine long, keep the weight back into the legs. Again, take the knees wider apart if you need more stability through the legs. And then left hand can either stay there in front of the face, take it to the top of the mat, or if you're taking the twist, finding the top of the right thigh this time. Squeeze that left shoulder blade down the back and really open up the left side of the collarbones. Also, another way that we find blockage in the throat is if we're really consuming lots of food and eating in a way that's more emotionally led rather than due to hunger or because we actually need to. For nourishment, we find ourselves eating when we're bored, when we're stressed, when we're tired, when we're angry, sad, whatever it is, when we're happy. We use food. So we're stimulating this throat center again, but not in a way that's healthy. And also another way that we can find blockage or stagnation, resistance in the throat center is if we're not fully speaking our truth. How many times a day do we really feel that we have to lie to feel comfortable, to feel accepted? How often can we really stand in our power and say no when we mean no, or yes when we mean yes? When we need to ask for things for ourselves, how often do we really allow that communication to come through? When we see something that's not right or we don't agree with, do we stand up in that truth, or do we feel we have to please others and lie to ourselves? Let's take for a few more breaths. Right, so with your next inhalation, bring your left hand down to the floor, gently push into that hand, and then inhale back into center. Just take a moment. If you need to take any movements, feel free to. Nice. So from here, we're going to invert our body. So we have a couple options. If you have a wall space and you wanted to take your legs up the wall, you can just bring yourself as close to the wall as you can beside your hip, and then swing your legs up the wall. And you might want just a gently folded blanket underneath your head, just to give your neck a bit of support. Or otherwise, we can take a freestanding legs up position. So you'll want either a couple of blocks or a couple of cushions. Ideally, if you're taking a cushion, like a sofa cushion, have just one, because they can be a little bit unstable. But if you've got like a pillow from your bed, you can stack a couple on top of each other. Or if you have a bolster, that is perfect. So either set yourself up beside the wall or take your prop just towards the end of your mat. Take your feet flat to the mat and then roll yourself down. We're going to come in the same way we did with bridge. So walk your feet a little bit closer in towards you, push into your feet, lift up your hips, and then pull your bolster, your pillow underneath, and just take a little rock side to side so you feel the pelvis is really lovely and supported and comfortable. And tuck chin to chest a little bit longer so you make space in the back of the neck. And then you can rest your hands either onto the bolster or out to the side, maybe overhead. Just gently pick your feet up off the floor and then take your legs straight up. So we're going to rest here for a little bit longer, just around 7 minutes or so. So your feet might get a little bit chilly. So if you haven't got socks on, please feel free to put socks on, or you might want to hook a blanket over your feet. And then just close down for your eyes and just focus on the breath, moving the energy from your feet. So all of the blood, all of the chi, your prana is slowly migrating down the body or up the body. And it's coming all the way through the kidneys, flushing all the organs through, clearing out any stagnation in the kidneys, in the stomach, and clearing the heart, allowing the blood to just gently flow back through the heart. And all the while pulling in this throat space, also clearing through any blockages in the circulatory system, allowing the blood to easily flow back down the veins, the arteries. Just gives a little bit more help for the body to process, to circulate the blood, circulate your energy, without having to force, without having to struggle. Just allow yourself to really rest into this. If you feel that your legs are trembling a little bit, it's very, very natural and normal for the legs to do that, especially if you have any tightness in the hamstrings. You can always walk yourself a little bit further away from the wall, so the legs are at more of a diagonal. Or if your legs are away from the wall, you can take a little bend into the knees. You can always support your legs, bringing your elbows to the floor. Or if you have a strap or a long sock, you can hook it over your feet and just hold. Either way, just trying to find a real sense of softness. So there's no struggle. Just focusing on the breath. Nice, slow, controlled, effortless breath. So we're here for another 4 minutes. It feels nice to stretch your arms overhead and just increase a little bit more flow to the lungs. You can do that. If at all you need to come out, always let yourself come out, but we're here for just another 4 minutes or so. It's really using this opportunity to make space in not only your body, but also your mind. If you can keep bringing your focus, your awareness back to your breath, back to any sensations arising in your body, and really stay connected to your body, feeling embodied. Can just give a little bit more space into the fluctuations of your mind, of the thinking that we so often kind of battle with. And just focusing on one thing, the breath, the body, any sensations, emotions arising. Just allows us to become a little bit more insightful and hold a little bit of space for self-inquiry. Allows us to really switch off from all of our to-dos, the busyness of life, and just to make that internal space in our thoughts, in between our thoughts. You can maybe even watch the pause after the exhalation, that very calm, gentle gap between the in and exhale.
a real sense of emptiness. Just feeling into those spaces, helping us to really bring that sense of purity, of cleansing to the mind. So just taking a couple more breaths here. If and when you're ready to, if you're by a wall space, you can just gently glide your feet down the wall and hug your knees into the chest. Take a few moments there, and then whenever you feel ready to really take your time, you can roll off to a side and then gently make your way back into semi-supine, so feet on the floor, knees bent on your mat. And if your legs are freestanding, just slowly bring your feet to the floor. Bring your hands down again beside your hips. Push into the feet. Slide any props out from beneath you. And just gently let your spine come down to the floor. So you can either pause with your feet on the floor, knees bent, or take the legs out long. Just come into a mini Shavasana for a moment. Letting your nervous system, your blood circulation regulate. Nice. So when you're ready, just gently hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze and hug. A little rock side to side, massaging out the pelvis, back of the head, shoulder blade area. And then we'll finish with a twist. So you can either take stacked knees, just taking your arms out into a T shape, and then let both stacked legs drop over to the right side. Otherwise, you can take your right leg out long and come into a one knee recline twist. So you want to guide the left leg over to the right side with your right hand, just hold on the side of the thigh. You might want to use a bolster underneath the leg. Add a little bit of support underneath the shin, underneath the knee. And you may also need to roll a little bit more onto the outer edge of your right hip. So really twisting through the pelvis. Or you can take a very gentle option with feet on the floor, knees bent. And just let the knees drop over. Again, you might want to take a blanket or cushion, a pillow, bolster in between the knees to act as a little bit of support, so you have something to rest into. And if it feels okay for your neck, you can look over your left shoulder. And try to get both shoulder blades glued down onto the floor, so you feel a really deep twist coming through your upper back. And then let your breath really breathe deeply into your belly. So there's no holding. The muscles can really expand and open, and this helps to just bring the energy down into the stomach. allowing for a real deep release in the nervous system. Very grounding, so the energy is now moving downwards, much more into a grounded, calm, stable mind and energy field. So just take a final breath here. And then with your next inhalation, guide your head back through to center. Slowly bring your knees up to center. Take any props with you. Just realign the spine. You might need to bring your feet to the floor. And then you can go to the opposite side. So dropping the legs over either stacked knees or feet to the floor, knees bent, and just dropping the knees across. Or again, the one knee recline twist with a bolster or cushion to support. Just set up through your pelvis so you feel that you're really twisted through the lower end of the spine, through the navel, and the shoulder blades are glued down to the floor. And then you can look across to your right shoulder if that's okay for your neck. Just taking a couple more breaths here. And then when you're ready with your next inhalation, just guiding your head back through to center. Slowly roll onto your back. Just leave any props out to the side. Take a moment just to realign your spine. And then you can hug your knees into your chest if they're not there already. Just give yourself a nice big squeeze. You can hold around the shins or hold around the backs of the thighs. And just breathe into your belly. If it feels nice to take a little rock side to side, you can do that. And whenever you're ready to, you can set yourself up for Shavasana. So maybe you need to take a blanket or a cushion underneath your head, just to give you a little bit of support for your neck and shoulders. It's quite nice to bring something underneath the knees as well. So if you can take a cushion or bolster just to support the back of your knees, and it gives your lower back a little bit of rest. And if you want anything to cover your eyes or a blanket over you, just grabbing anything that you might need. And then allowing yourself to come down into a nice rested position. So taking the legs out long, arms out wide beside your body, palms facing the ceiling. Try to get your shoulder blades to really glide down your back so the heart stays nice and open. And that gentle tuck of chin to chest. So just lengthening out the back of your neck again. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Do 2 more like that. Nice deep breath in. Out through the mouth. Last one. Sigh out and really let your body soften into the support beneath you. Feel all of your muscles releasing their hold, their grip, and allow the bones to just drop into that support. Allow the earth to come up to meet your body. Feel held, connected, supported to the earth beneath you, to your breath. Don't try to force or change your breath at all. Just allowing the breath to breathe itself. The breath happens spontaneously, naturally, and effortlessly. And you can just become the observer, allowing all of that to happen. You allow your body to soften, to relax, the breath to just feel softer, more subtle as you drop into that space of relaxation. Just rest in here.
very, very gradually begin to come back to your breath. Just feeling your breath becoming a little bit stronger, more full in your body. And as your energy slowly builds and returns, you can feel some gentle movement in your fingers, your toes, maybe turning the head side to side. And then take in any other intuitive stretches or movements that feel really nice for your body. Just really take your time, no need to rush at all. Maybe some sighs or yawns might feel quite nice. And then whenever you're ready to, just roll off to a side or hug your knees into the chest. Maybe draw your feet to the floor, knees bent, take some knee sways. Any way to come to your side. And just take a few moments just to rest on your side. You can make a pillow with your arm if you don't have a cushion or a blanket there already. Just enjoy a few moments in that in-between stage. Transitioning from one state to another. And then whenever you feel ready to, just gently and slowly pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat position. You can keep your eyes closed. And again, just finding that connection into the earth, nice and grounded and stable, so that we can rise up and out from that sense of stability, groundedness, through the spine, really lengthening up into the crown of your head, ascending upward, and feeling the shoulders relaxing down the back, the heart stays open. Let's come back to your breath, come back to your body, come back to this moment now, just tuning in with how you're feeling. Bringing awareness again into the throat center, noticing any changes, any difference, or anything that's stayed the same. I'll just finish with a quote from Anadea Judith. She's a really beautiful writer who's done a lot of work with chakras and the energy body. And she says, our body is an instrument played by a divine breath. It is our job to keep the instrument well tuned and to listen to the voice of truth moving through us. Always connecting to that sense of deep truth within us, always, and having the courage, the confidence, the enthusiasm, the aspiration to always hold on to that truth and allow it to express from compassion, from peace, from a real sense of stability and inner empowerment. And may we continue to use our practice to inspire us to grow, to expand, to reach higher aspects of ourselves, and to always see ourselves with clarity, to hold that space for ourselves to really grow into. Just bringing hands into prayer at the heart space and taking a nice deep breath. As we exhale, bowing the head down in gratitude to our practice, to our bodies, to our minds, to our prana, and to each other for sharing this space. In gratitude and reverence, namaste. Thank you so much.